Well, the week's coming to a close, finally, and here we are, team. May 10th, 2020, whatever it is, 2024. We have been moved sideways in rates. You guys can see this black line. That's the 50-day moving average. We've not hit above it. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days now we've hit it and not broke above it. The good news, the great news, the blue line underneath it, that's the 200-day moving average, and it's at least becoming a floor of support for us. That's a great thing. That's a wonderful thing. So that is good. Because the more time we spend above it, the more it becomes our friend as opposed to a foe. So the 200 days better than the 50 days. So we will see where rates go. Rates right now, the low sevens. Good news is they're ever so slightly 0.02 getting better, according to Mortgage News Daily. The Fed. Now, last week we talked about in the last video from last week, what I don't know that I mentioned or put enough stress on. While the Fed said they're holding rates, and this is a neat little graph I thought that kind of shows when the probability of the Fed cut's coming. You guys can see a lot of folks are banking on the December cut, but the Fed has said on their balance sheet they're going to start buying more assets like treasuries, a lot of treasuries. So that's going to help our rates, I suspect. So I'll make the call now. So what is this, May? I bet by June, July-ish, you're going to see rates start to come down more noticeably because of just volume consumption. As far as if they buy that, it just means the demand picks up when the Fed starts buying. So hopefully we'll see rates starting to come down in the next 30 to 60 days. We'll see if I'm right. Time will tell. Housing sentiments, they're flat. So it's funny. I saw this 67% of people said it's a good time to sell a home. That's 2 out of 3 people, 67%. And then 20% said it's a good time to buy. So you would think with 2/3 of the people saying it's a good time to sell and only 20% saying it's a good time to buy, you would think we wouldn't have inventory issues, yet we do. This is Fannie Mae's REO. So this isn't inventory. This isn't individuals trying to sell a home. This is just homes that Fannie's owns because they have foreclosures. But you can see it's super, super, super low. Check how many homes there were back in the day during the meltdown to now here where we are today with equity at an all-time high and people just sitting in their homes. I thought this was really cool. Apparently, looks like the majority. So right there on the left, potential sellers. How long you been thinking about selling your home? Between a year and 2 years. That's a long cycle. And I get it. It's not like you just wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to sell my home. Apparently 6% of the people do. But I thought more than 3 years, 0.8. So who knows? Maybe there's one person out there answered the survey that it takes more than 3 years for them to consider selling their home. On the right side, also super interesting. The question was, do you feel that had you listed your home sooner, you've been able to take advantage of a hotter housing market? The answer is yes. So guys, whether that was taken during COVID, I don't know, or whether that was last month, I can't quite know. I don't know. I don't remember seeing this in Realtor.com's article. However, the reality is, guys, the market is still hot. It is still good. And 2/3 of the people say they think about listing. They should, because it is a tight market from inventory. And it's tight and people don't want to sell. Why? We all know the reason. The mortgage rates. I thought this was a really cool graph. Texas, we're sitting at an average of a 4.2 rate. Makes sense to some degree that California, Hawaii are going to be lower because they have a lot more military bases. I don't say a lot more, but I know the VA business is big out there, and those loans typically have slightly better rates because our veterans deserve it. But I just thought this was a really neat graph. Sticking with the graph of the United States, this is the tax rate. My God, New York, 12% of your money is going to state and local governments, which is crazy to me. Texas, we're sitting at a 7.6. California, Maine, good grief. You guys are paying 10% of your money. Good for you guys. God bless Texas. Things that make me go, huh, right? So technically, according to this article from Realtor.com, who knows if it's true, the 10 rental markets where college grads can find affordable home. Austin, Texas, number 1. I don't believe it. I went to UT. I've been there. I don't believe that's the number 1. I feel like Pittsburgh easily, Bloomington, Minnesota. I get it. But Austin, Texas? Anyway, there you go. All right. This dude, the former Washington Commanders owner, apparently was trying to sell his $35 million mansion. Couldn't do it. I think it sat for years, kind of just under the radar. He ended up just giving the darn thing away. That's right. Literally couldn't sell it for 35 mil. So he's like, you know what? Screw this. And he gave it to charity. On one hand, good for him. On the other hand, holy smokes. I guess he wanted $49 million for it. And, could have gotten a $15 million price deduction on it and still couldn't give it away. So he literally gave it away. Turkey, my gosh. Turkey's inflation, guys, our inflation right now is running that mid 3s, give or take. depending on which one you look, or how you measure it. But in Turkey, their inflation is 70%. That is wild. So just be thankful we're only at 3%. While it's higher than we want, 70%, that certainly changes things. All right, Jeff Bezos, dude, the guy's got the biggest yacht apparently in the world. It's a super yacht, and it takes like $500,000 just to, for the upkeep. I don't know if it's got a bowling alley. I read the article, but it's crazy. But look at this thing. That's a yacht. It can go anywhere it wants. Good for him. And if you're the richest person in the world, why wouldn't you? And then lastly, AI. Apparently, you can generate friends. So in my office, we are creating kind of a different stuff for AI with people to say, okay, this is our target market for this area or this area for marketing. And then they can even ask some questions and they can talk to you. So we haven't done it yet. We're starting to just to play with it. But holy smokes, I thought it was Justin Bieber in the top right. That shows how much I know. And then bottom right kind of looks like George Clooney. But these are AI generated, I would say humans. They're AI generated things of humans, which is crazy, just crazy. All right. Lastly, the mortgage mark meme of the week. It shows the steps week 1 through week 2, 3, and 4. The monthly sanity of a loan officer. You start the first week of the month, like, hey, this is cool. Second week, third week, fourth week, but boom, big one. Love it. Let's get social, guys. As always, share this with somebody who might find it useful, interesting, or helpful. If you're in the business like me, use some of those slides to just show folks whether it's an inventory shortage or why they should move now. It all makes sense. It really does. Buy now before the frenzy starts back up when rates do go down eventually. Hope you guys have a great day and great rest of your week.